You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit GearHandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
This episode is brought to you by Polestar. Time is luxury, which is why Polestar spent so much time designing the Polestar 3, their luxury electric performance SUV. It's designed to go further with up to 315 miles of range and immerse you in a unique listening experience powered by 25 speakers. Your favorite daily news podcast has never sounded better. All to make the time you spend behind the wheel of Polestar 3 the best time of your day. Book your test drive at Polestar.com.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. This is Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Central Texas Life, and how wonderful it is to talk about life with these two fabulous ladies. Of course, Eisha Joyce, who is the Executive Director, CEO of CareNet Waco, and Erika McBurnett. You are the program person, right? You kind of...
You could say that. I've done a little bit of everything, but right now my title is Community Director. So I am in charge of events and donor development.
Okay, well, there you go. CareNet, now, for you,
yes,
more than a year? You've been...
April to April would have been a year. So we're about a year, almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
This will be my second benefit.
Okay, very good. And we're calling it benefit.
Yes.
Which is awesome because it does benefit women who find themselves in a crisis pregnancy. So
Yes.
that's what CareNet has been all about. Let's talk a little bit about the history of it in Waco and how important this organization's been.
Yes, I'll launch big picture and then Erika can chime in because I'm sure she's got a little bit of nuance in there from her experience with CareNet. But this is our 40th year, and it's always been known as the banquet. And the reason that we kind of tried to rebrand this year and call it the benefit is when I think of banquet or gala, I think of something very formal, maybe a little more intimate. And so because this is the largest pro-life fundraiser in Central Texas, and it really draws a wide variety of people coming from work, people that maybe had the time to get dressed up, moms, dads, I just felt like that's a more accessible term, I guess, to call this main fundraiser. But 40 years, I feel like they've had them for like 15?
Yeah, for a while now.
It has been a long time and brought in some amazing speakers.
Yes, Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Let's see, Lou Holtz has been a speaker.
Mike Huckabee.
Mike Huckabee, Dr. Ben Carson.
Yes.
Sarah Palin,
Yes.
the Duck Dynasty guy.
Yes.
All before my time, but those were all, yes, when we looked at the roster, I'm like, wow,
Like-
we've had some great people.
It's really, and thousands come.
Yes.
I mean,
Thousands.
it's a huge event, and it is coming up
Yes.
on October the 17th.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and just jump right in and talk about the upcoming benefit because your speaker is Nick Vujicic.
Nick Vujicic, yes, he was born. I cannot pronounce the disease for the life of me, but he was born without arms and legs. And this was not told to him or mom in the ultrasound. And when he was born, mom and dad didn't want to hold him for the first couple of weeks of his life.
Oh.
And so there wasn't that really skin-to-skin intimate contact. And so it's a true story of redemption and how God uses the people that we would consider, or that some would consider, not worthy to be born. But he's made for purpose. And so he's going to come and talk to us. And he's not just going to ask, hey, are you pro-life? But he's going to ask, are you a Christian? Or are you a part of the kingdom? And so it's really, really powerful. I'm so excited to meet him.
Well, which brings me to, you had a post this week about the whole abortion, pro-life issue, and it's obviously figuring very greatly in the campaign season.
Yes.
But what you said, it's is political. Is that political the answer, or is the church?
I think as believers, you can't say, oh, I don't get political, because God is the maker of life and you've got to stand for life. And so I think of it as, are you part of the kingdom agenda or not? And so when people shy away and say, well, I don't get into politics, I think so often it's because it's such a polarizing statement. But the way that we love to talk about it too, even with clients that come through, is this grace-filled, like, it's made for purpose. Sometimes the most challenging things in life are what make us the best version of us. And so we really try and speak, again, it's not a political stance, it's more a kingdom agenda, and seeing people the way God sees them and trying to bring them or draw their hearts into the life that he's already preordained from the beginning of time.
Yeah, I have always believed that since I first became aware of the issue, and that's that the hearts of women have to be changed.
Correct.
Yes.
I mean, you can make all kinds of laws or
Yes.
one way or the other.
Yes.
But until that woman says, no, this is a growing life inside of me that is worthy of life. And, of course, the big complaint is, well, what are you going to do to help these women?
Yes.
Correct.
CareNet.
CareNet. Yes. Yes. And part of it, too, I just was at CareNet National Conference, and there was a bunch of learning there, and it was amazing to speak with other leaders of other different centers, some that have transitioned into maybe medical sites or that do more support the way we do. But one of the organizations was called the Vitae Foundation, and they are the conservative pro-life arm of research, for example. And what they were talking about is what I think makes this so volatile is in the past, the pro-choice, pro-abortion movement will say, this is your health care. You as a woman, you deserve this. We are for you. It is about you. Don't you see we want to protect you and help you? And the pro-life side has traditionally been, but it's a baby. So you're having one side talk about the woman and one side only talk about the baby. And what we always say and what we do in our work is say, there is a baby. No doubt life begins at conception, but you've got to speak to that woman and let her know that she is seen and valued and worthy, not just of carrying the life, but being supported through it. And that's what we do. We encourage, women have 3 options, 1 choice. Informed choice is the key. And so we believe when you give them accurate information and you inform them to empower them, abortion should become unthinkable. And then when they choose life, we have classes, we have case management to help them go, this is what I'm struggling with, this is what I'm dreaming about. Great, how can we help you do that? Material support, diapers, wipes, baby formula. We have a little boutique that has clothing, things that you feel like just those little things matter. Like it just makes somebody feel like, oh, I just can take a breath. But also we have a program where women can apply for utility and rental assistance. So if they have a high-risk pregnancy or they're out of work before they give birth, or especially the 8 weeks postpartum, that's such a precious time where if you've asked somebody to choose life, but they work at a fast food place and they can't go back to work, what are they supposed to do? Well, we come alongside. So that is true. It's not just about saving the life, but it's really about nurturing them and helping point them to an abundant life that can be better.
Yeah, and of course that's wonderful. They keep the baby and and see how life moves on. But if I really think a couple really would do better in this child's life. Do you also help advise in that?
Absolutely.
In adoption?
Do you want to speak to any of the other services?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely will refer for adoption if that's something that the couple is interested in, and we absolutely love that. And I think really too that I want to speak to about CareNet and why I love this ministry so much is that as Mama and Dad walk in, they're walking in scared. Possibly feeling alone and not prepared and equipped. And it's really, really beautiful that as the staff talk to them and work with them, this onion begins to unfold and they begin to get more comfortable. And it's like, by the end of it, it's like, wow, I can do this.
Yeah.
And that's really, really beautiful to be able to see, is that through the power of the Holy Spirit, the staff are really able to kind of de-escalate, this scary situation of not knowing, and that, hey, not only do we want you to live, but we want you to thrive. And that's through our services. Our education and case management program are so robust and have grown so much. And it's really, really exciting to see our chaplain working with men in the program, working on their cars And so I get really, really excited to see them say, you know what, I can breathe now. I'm going to be okay.
That's great. Strengthening of the family, the whole family.
Yes. Yes. So we do have the men's services, and it's really cute. She mentioned the chaplain. We have a chaplain, TJ Burris. We just learned out of all the CareNet affiliates, we are the only one in the nation with an on-staff chaplain.
Really?
Yes. And because ministry is so foundational to what we do, but yet we don't beat people over the head. When they come in, we've got to earn their trust.
And we're gonna help you no matter what.
We don't
Your
even
spiritual
speak
status
it.
is.
Correct.
Right.
We don't even speak it coming through, but they feel it. And it's like the book of Esther, where God is all over that book. But he's through the Spirit, right? So we always say that to staff because, as Erika just said, we've got to earn their trust. They've got to know that this is a safe place.
Yes.
They've got to believe in the things that we say. So our yes has to be yes, and our services have to be excellent. But when it gets to that point, the dads, speaking to the dads in particular, TJ has a dad's class, and he'll talk about, like, he had a dad call him, and he's like, how do I check my oil? Like, just didn't even know. And so
probably may not have had a dad to teach him.
Correct. And
That's
so
right.
ministry for us gets all the way down to, like, I'm just going to sit in this thing with you. What is the thing, right? So all of us have an array of experience, life experience, spiritual experience, practical experience. And so we really come alongside wherever they're at and try and meet them wherever they're at. And I think that's what brings the most joy into our place. Sometimes they just need a big stinking hug, right? They just want to
just reassure them.
You feed them and they get a hug and they're like, oh, okay, I'm not in survival mode right now. All right, let's talk. What are we going to learn today?
Yeah, they're safe. And I absolutely love that. One of the clients told us earlier this week, she said, when I come to CareNet, it makes me feel like God thinks I'm a celebrity. And that made me want to cry because it's like I come here and I feel seen and heard and validated and encouraged. And that's just it's so empowering for our mamas and dads to think like that.
Well, the emotions involved with childbirth and the hormones and all those kind of things you have to take into account as well. You have a great group of volunteers, don't you? And I always think of ladies volunteering, being on that hotline or whatever, but it sounds like you could use guys for volunteers too.
Our dad's class, we have some dads that come alongside, and it's awesome because what happens is with most of our clients, the demographics are pretty consistent, right? They're below the poverty level. If they're coming during the day, likely they're in between either part-time jobs or maybe don't work. And so when they do come in to this dad's class, which is actually held in the evening, it's pretty sweet. So number one, we have childcare. So you'll have dads that will bring the babies just so mama, like,
Can
has
have
a break.
Yeah.
Which we think, like, we encourage that, right? 'Cause remember,
That's
your wife
neat.
can get this night out.
Yeah.
So they bring these babies, but then the dads can come alongside and volunteer and offer perspective. Like, I've got 4, I had 2, I've got 3 boys, or I've already raised my kids. And it's such a gift for men that may never have that kind of community to see it. And that's so much of all that we do. We always say we want to be a place where our clients taste and see, and that's biblical, right? Taste and see God is good, but they don't know it's God yet. They just know it's kindness. They just know it's masculinity. They just know it's order or a smile. And so it's neat. But yes, we could always use men. There's places for men for sure. Hanging things. We have one faithful volunteer, Sweet Rod, who'll show up and we're like, okay, here's the honey-do list, Rod.
Yes.
And he's at
Just
both
check it
sites.
off.
Yes. Or we had a team of these 3 men that would come in and just say, what furniture are we putting together today? And they would just put together furniture or deliver donations that we had taken in and couldn't keep. So there's always really great things men can do, whether they want to work right with clients. We got Thomas.
Yes. Oh, my
Thomas
goodness.
is one of our greatest spiritual volunteers. He's this young guy, probably early 20s.
Yes.
He is so powerful in prayer, and he has made such an impact. So even from prayer, like with our chaplain, TJ, there's so many ways men can volunteer.
Well, let's talk about the sites.
Okay.
Let's talk about your facilities. I know that's changed a lot over the years.
Yes, yes. So we have 2 facilities. One we refer to as the medical center. The reason they're split is the medical center was strategically planted maybe 6-7 years ago.
Yes, over off Columbus, right across from Planned Parenthood.
Yes. So off Sanger? Is that Columbus or
Columbus,
It's
and
Columbus.
18th.
Yeah, so it's strategically right across from Planned Parenthood. So that center is where we do the free pregnancy tests, the ultrasounds. Clients can get STI vouchers that right now are redeemed down at the Department of Health here in Waco. They can get their options counseling, and people have asked about that. And that just means, again, you have 3 options. You get one choice. Abortion is an option. Adoption is an option. Parenting is an option. So instead of just saying, oh, I get it, you must need an abortion, it's like, well, hold on. Let's talk about your life choices, right? Because you're going to have one, and you've got to live with whatever it is that you choose. So that is medical site. Since Planned Parenthood has shut down, it's still the place to go. It's where we hold everything. We have not moved that. And then our support site is where we do all of our case management, education. If people have already had their babies and need material support, that is the hub. It's also where we have had our guest house in the past. The guest house is on pause right now, which is kind of exciting because we're revamping that programming.
Oh, I want to hear more. Yeah.
Yes, it's the program, the way that it's always been built. It's a really brilliant it's a brilliant way that it was thought of. But I think through all of the transition and some staffing issues, we just needed to take a pause. Just like our clients sometimes like, take a breath. So we just had to take a breath and really look at the strategy and the impact that we can make with that. So that it would also be on the same location. So 2 locations, quite a variety of services that are served by both.
Yeah, this week I was able to hear Senator Bob Hall.
Yes,
and I know
with the hearts.
I know, and he said, "Is
gotta
anybody
get him.
from a pregnancy support?" And I was
it.
waiting. I was,
Where's Alicia?
Everyone was texting us.
I know, we
Are
were
y'all
blown
here?
up.
Are y'all
I
here?
know.
And we had a prior engagement, and we were so sad that we couldn't go.
Yes.
But everyone was like commenting on Facebook.
It's a little heart,
Yes.
like that would be like on a keychain.
Yes.
Tell them about it. So.
Yeah, it's a little heart that when mamas go in for their ultrasound, they can capture that beating heart, which is so powerful. The ultrasound is such a powerful tool because we know that if mama hears that heart 3 out of 4 times, she's going to choose life. And now with this cute little device, and they're able to keep it on their keychain, they can remember it like, man, this is in my tummy right now.
I know.
Well,
it's so
and even
sweet.
more, he touched on family members that were maybe pushing
Yes.
them
Yes.
to. So again, the hearts are being changed. With
Yes.
this little heart.
Yes, and sound is so impactful. When I
Yeah.
saw that, I thought of my daughter. It was the cutest thing, like in kindergarten. This little boy she had a crush on gave her a Build-A-Bear that when you push the hand, it was like, happy birthday, Sela.
Oh, yeah,
like,
right.
She carried that forever. And it's like, when
He was
you
talking to her.
Yes, but when you have a memory like that, like it makes it.
It's tangible.
Yeah, it's even more real.
Yes.
Versus I heard the heartbeat. It's like, let me show you the heartbeat, right? And you get to press it. I got to find him.
Yes.
Yeah, sweet Josh Teton's DA called. He's like, we got to talk. I'm like, Josh, this is brilliant. And all the while, she's getting texts, I'm getting calls. Like it was really, really cool
Yeah,
to just
Alicia
see the
Curry
energy.
was texting
Yes,
Pat's
yes.
wife, and she was like, y'all got to be here. Y'all here.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, that what a great thing. I mean, I can see somebody wanting to underwrite those. you
Yes,
know?
that's what he
Yes.
said. I thought he said if this is what he loves to donate. And that's why I got to call him because he says if you're at
Right.
a pregnancy center, that's what
Yes.
he and his wife love to do.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, I got to get with him.
Just such a small thing, but such a huge thing.
Yes.
Because I have had ladies sit right where you are and tell the most heartbreaking stories of, for whatever reason, not choosing life. And how God can redeem
Yes.
the pain.
100%.
But it is it's a consequence that I don't think has really fairly been communicated to women.
No, I don't think it has either. I think the accuracy of what happens after that transpires has never really been communicated, but that's another great service that we offer as post-abortion counseling. We want to love you regardless of your decisions, like Christ loves us regardless of our decisions,
Right.
as long as we, are repentant of that. And so we have wonderful counselors that want to come in and walk alongside those women and men because they're affected as well, and to really just kind of see them not only recover from the grief of that, but to begin like thriving, and then to go and share their testimony with someone else is very powerful.
Yep. The scripture that always comes to mind for me is in where it said, and I got to start writing it down and remember
You
it word
do.
for word. But it's like, may the God of all comfort who comforts us in all of our afflictions, right? As he comforts us, may we be able to offer that comfort. And I think of that, and I think of the powerful stories of redemption that come from women that have chosen in that survival mode, in that pressure, in wherever they were at. they made a choice.
Yeah.
We all make, like what you just said, I love that. We are human beings and choices are made.
Yeah.
But when we've made it, God wants to redeem what we know is broken. And he's so good to do it.
Yeah.
And if women were bold, were recognized at number one, had the healing, we would have an army of helpers that would be able to speak, like what Erika just said, from the mountaintop, and really proclaim the truth. Because it takes a lot. One of the other conferences, breakouts I did was on this whole concept of moral injury. And I thought, this is fascinating. It's a new way of studying. It was a woman that had had an abortion when she was 17 and has made it her life work to study like the heart impact. And she just talked about it. She says, it's not PTSD, it's not this or that. She says, it's this concept of moral injury that we may know in our heart of hearts, but there's so much pressure. And there's so much, so you have to compartmentalize and you have to minimalize, because that's the only way sometimes we can walk through hard things. And I thought, wow, this is fascinating, because you can heal from that. Like, you know, and that's the exciting thing. And I love that Erika just mentioned we have that, because we have beautiful counselors. Julie Biles, you had her. Her and Livette. Livette was here too, right?
Exactly. Those are the two.
Powerful
That was such
stories.
a fabulous podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, Julie Biles is on our team. Livette is on my phone dial. Like, they are amazing women.
Julie
And
was
so-
texting us scripture this morning. She was like, hey, I wanted you just to remind you of Proverbs 24. And you know, we responded just out of gratitude, just for the reminder of that. And that outside of that, we have people that are constantly praying for us.
Yes.
And that's just really great to have.
So we're all encompassing, I guess, is what it says too,
Exactly.
right? Like before you first time you take a at-home pregnancy test, we're there for you. Unsure, we're there for you. You make a decision that now you regret or want a second, or your second guess, we're there for you. Need to parent, we're there for you. Like, that's what I envision too as we go into the second year. It's really this community center that is focused on pregnancy and parenting. Anything that touches that life season up to a child that's 36 months of age, it's so exciting. Like, I love when I'm in my office too and you hear a brand new baby cry. There's nothing like a brand new baby's cry. And then you know that it's a toddler, or you can almost go, that's a 3-year-old, right? Like, it's kind of fun.
I can name that age.
Yes, I can name that age. So it is really, I'm so blessed, and I know you feel the same, that we're so grateful that we get to be part of this, because it really is a transforming place to be.
Well, it is just, God's hand, no question, you being put, Elisha, in this. And we talked about that. And so I just want to touch on, again, your story in case somebody hasn't heard. So can you give the elevator version? The fact that you are here is a miracle.
Yes. And there's actually a great campaign, I think Students for Life or somebody started doing it, but I was almost aborted. And that is the campaign that's been running, because people need to know, well, for me, I was in a family. I was born into a family that didn't want me, didn't know how they could have me. There was drugs, there was abuse, there were multiple relationships for my dad at the time. And my mom was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not hanging around with a guy that keeps cheating on me. It's since come out that they had even tried to self-abort with a couple different things. And so it didn't work. So my dad's like, well, guess I'm going to drop you off. And so he did. He took her in, dropped her off at a Planned Parenthood or whatever the abortion clinic was, took her car and was going to go to the bar and pick her up the next day, because back in the day there was a waiting period. So he dropped her off, and on the way to the bar his buddy's like, where's Kathy at? He's like, oh, I dropped her off to get an abortion, like it was nothing. And his buddy goes,
her tooth pulled or something.
and his buddy goes, do you know what they're about to do to that baby? So you got these two bodybuilders, these guys in their 20s, sitting in this tiny little car that was my mom's, and my dad says it's the first time in his life he ever felt a spirit. He didn't know the Lord, but the spirit was like, who are you to deny this life? And he turns the car around and he knocks on the door. It's going to give me chills. In the middle of the night. And the nurse is like, yes. And he's like, I'm here to get Kathy. And she says, that's the best news I've ever heard.
Yes.
So he walks in. She's bawling her eyes out.
Because she didn't want to do it. Your
didn't
mom
wanna-
did not
she-
want to do it.
She didn't want to do it. She was 5.5 months pregnant. Like, size of a papaya. A baby at 5 months, 5.5 months is the size of a papaya. She was showing. And you're moving. Like, there was no doubt in her mind. And that is what
She
studies...
knew it was a baby.
Yes. That's
you.
the moral injury. Yes. And that's what it goes back to. I think women in survival mode, and there's this heart tug that's like, I cannot do this. I know what's going on. There's no way I can do this. I don't want to do it to the baby even, right? And so my dad walked in and she said, she's bawling her eyes out, and he's like, can we do this? We should get married. And she was like, yes. first time they had let her hear my heartbeat was after she asked. They had never let her hear the heartbeat. I don't even know if ultrasounds were around in 73, but they gave her nothing, no information. And so the minute she heard the heartbeat, going back to that idea, they were both like, we're in this. But I grew up in a home. I mean, that didn't change the people that birthed me, right?
So they had their issues.
They had their issues, and we talk about this all the time. It's one thing to preserve the life. I like to say you're preserving a baby. When somebody chooses life, they're preserving a life. You've still got to nurture them, right, into salvation or into abundance. And so for my parents, I didn't come to know the Lord till I was 27. Like, we didn't have Christ in my home. My dad still did his drugs. There was still domestic violence. There were still all the things. And so I am kind of a testimony. I mean, I'm just like, by the grace of God. Like, I literally, when I sing Amazing Grace, whenever we sing it in church, it's like, that was me. And, but God is good. And he used all of that muck and mire that I grew in and all these little things that just kept pointing me up. Like just people in life. And I feel like that's the village that it takes to raise somebody. The teacher that's like, I see you love to read. I read all the time because I had no life. Like that was my safe space. But a teacher that would say, you love to read. Oh, okay, let's get you into this competition. Or somebody else that would say, well, I see you love to write. Yes, let's get you over here. I think you should go to college. Really? No one in my family had ever gone to college. That's our role. Our role as a center is to see these women and men and go, you're pretty smart. I think you should come and sit in this book club that we're doing. You're really good with cars from that class that we were in. I got a friend that owns a place. Can we connect you? Like, that's how we see people in life. And so I feel like with the Lord bringing me here, he had to give me that in my background to have a compassionate heart to say, this is what people need. I want to see my cook when she's cooking in our kitchen at the center wear an apron. I remember the first time I ever saw a woman cook in an apron. I'm like, people wear aprons when they cook? What is this? That is nothing I had ever been experienced with. And so we get to be those tiny little glimmers of something that they may have never experienced. That's what transformed my life to come out of what I was, to bring me to this place here 50 years later. But yeah, that's a little of my backstory.
And Erika, what brought you to CareNet?
Yeah, so I've been here since 2019. The former executive director, Deborah McGregor Caperton, was a close friend of ours, and we were kind of going through very similar experiences, crises actually, and we were texting back and forth, and she was like, what do you need? And I'm like, what do you need? And I told her that I needed a job to help my mom rehab after her heart attack. And I ended up being her assistant for 4 years, and she retired a year and a half ago, and Eisha came, and so it's been such a wonderful and exciting transition. Deborah is so intelligent and so phenomenal and so amazing, and so to have Eisha come in after that to see what has been built and then now kind of elevate it with this fresh vision and fresh perspective, I'm excited. I'm so excited for what's to come. 5 weeks from today is our benefit with 1,000 people, one of the largest we've ever had, and so there's so much good on the horizon, and I'm just really excited to be a part of it.
Let's talk a little bit more about that then. It's Thursday, October 17th.
Yes.
And it will be where? Where are you having
Waco
this?
Convention
Center. Okay.
Yes. I'm so excited. John Morris is our MC.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. He's done it several times.
For
I think.
several
Yeah,
years.
several
He's so
years.
great.
He's so great.
I had met him for the first time last year, just on location of that night. And I was so nervous, and he kept going, it's okay.
Oh, he's
It's
great.
okay. Like, he's just such a calming presence. I'm so
He
excited
is.
he's coming back.
Last year we had a little bit of a malfunction at probably the most important point. Do you
recall.
remember that?
I
When
was
the
there.
video would not work.
The video would
I
not
know.
work, and
I
I was
know.
like, it was my first one to really lead, first event to lead, and I just remember him saying, it's going to be okay. This happens all the time. And so to have that peace amidst the chaos, I'm like, okay, God, you've got this.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was exactly the way it was supposed to go.
Yes.
But what a wonderful event, though, for folks to come together, knowing they're
Yes.
supporting such an amazing work
Yes.
that's really impacting the lives of moms and dads and those babies.
Yes, those
because
little
they're babies. Okay, and one more time about Nick.
Yes.
I'll let you say his last name.
Voyagich.
Can I add something about Nick? When
Yeah.
we were looking, we were searching, who are we going to have? Like, it's got to be some.
You've
it's
had some
hard.
amazing people, we've
Yes.
said.
And she came in one night and she mentioned, or one day, and she's like, we can get Nick. And I had seen him before. I've always seen him. Didn't really know a lot of his story. But it occurred to me, we are right before the most pivotal election probably for most of us in our lifetimes.
Yes.
Abortion is
It's the topic.
It is.
topic,
It
which it's amazing to me that we even speak the things that we speak about. One side believes abortion literally post-birth, like just don't revive
Just
a baby
don't
that
help
had
the
a botch.
baby.
Yes.
Correct.
That's right. Just let it die.
And then the flip side that wants to value life. And so when we started talking about Nick, I'm like, this is a life that in the womb, parents would be told, you're
Just
going to want to
not
snuff
worthy.
this one out.
Yeah.
And you kind of touched on that. But I thought, what a powerful reminder for everybody sitting in that room to see him. He is on the top 10 list of every inspirational speaker list that we could find.
Yes.
He has made such an impact with his life. And if we just allow God to have his way, right? Even when we think we know best, I always say in God's economy, he knows best.
Yeah.
We've got to allow him to do what he's got to do. And so every life deserves an opportunity. Yes. And we have so many of those stories where people were like, I was told I shouldn't have this baby. And they come out and they're completely fine.
Yes.
Or I have actually known women that have carried babies to term and allowed those babies to naturally pass. And they will still say that is the greatest gift that they had, to meet that baby for the 4 hours. Like, we have one on our
We
staff.
do. So
Sweet
our
Deb.
director of First Impressions,
Our
she was
friend-
with the baby for 2 hours and 12 minutes.
Yes.
And she said it's the greatest gift that God could have ever
Yes.
given her.
And that experience transformed her life.
It did.
Like, she says, that baby was a gift to me, even though they said the baby's probably not going to survive. Carried the baby all the way through. So we wholeheartedly believe that every created life has purpose, and we've got to walk through that, because God does amazing things when we just let him have his way.
Let him do it.
Yeah, just let him have his way.
Well, so how can folks get tickets?
There's only a few left.
I
Miss
was
Ann.
going to say, it always sells
I
out.
think we've got like 20 tables left.
Yes.
Really?
They can get on our website. Our donor-facing or like event-facing site is CareNetCentralTexas.com. CareNetCentralTexas.com. There are links there to purchase tickets or information there, and then there's also. Are you your information on there?
Yes.
Yes, I would say if you're going to purchase, call Erika, because then there's no fees. If you do it online, they got to pay fees.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
right.
No, reach
They
out
build
to
in
Erika.
build in a little bit extra.
Yes.
You've got some amazing, wonderful sponsors, and I want to go ahead and mention
do.
First National Bank of Central Texas, Greg May Honda, Waco Surgical Arts, Waco Social,
Yes.
Gary and Diane Haven.
Yes.
They are
love
still,
them.
their community fund, they're still so involved.
Yes.
Tom and Nancy Harrison and Jurgensen Pump.
Yes.
Can I mention one
more?
more?
We
Yeah.
just got.
Yes, our largest one, Doulos Networking. We're so excited to be partnering with them. Yes, fairly new, but we've texted back and forth, and they were so excited to underwrite our event. Just the sweetest people, and so I have to give them a little shout out.
And tell me again who?
Doulos Networking,
Doulos.
DOULOS.
Doulos
Yes.
Yep.
Networking.
They walked in one day and they were like, we want to buy a table. And they kept looking and they're like, we'll just underwrite at that level. And we were like, yes.
Yes, you will.
Yes.
I was thinking you were saying doula, and I thought,
Yes,
oh,
it's so
the
interesting.
doulas-
Oh, it is interesting.
The,
It
the
is.
doulas have a,
Yep.
have a network.
Yes, switch
yes,
out that
doulos.
vowel. Yes.
And then
Yeah, that's what I wanted to clarify.
Yes, and then Nan Stevens called me this morning and is also going to be a
one of our
platinum
sponsors.
sponsor.
Good,
Yes.
good.
biggest sponsorship event we've ever had.
I know.
Like, this is the most
Yeah.
underwriting we've ever had.
It's
I
the
think,
most
in history.
underwriting we've ever had before Night of Giving. And
Yes.
so I'm really excited. God's favor has been all over this. Anywhere from finding Nick, I literally was praying on my way to work one morning, and I'm just like, Father, please, I'm just asking for a favor. I'm asking for your favor.
Little favor.
And then he gave it to us. And then I
Yeah.
continued, Father, I'm just asking for your financial favor on our sweet ministry. And he was like, okay, here are all of our sponsors.
Yes.
And so his goodness and his faithfulness is woven all throughout this.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you all are working out your purpose.
Thank
you mentioned that
We
the
feel
purpose.
it. We
do.
I love Erika.
Such
and
a
our
beautiful
team.
way,
Yes.
both of you.
Thank
you
you.
so much
Yes.
for your time and for what you're doing for these great families.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, and we love you so much.
We
Thank
do.
you for having us.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you both again, and thank you for being with us. And we'll see you next time on Central Texas Life. Bye-bye.
Yay.
Bye.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder. This has been a Rogue Media Network production. Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.